Électricité de France S.A.is a French electric utility company, largely owned by the French state, headquartered in Paris, France, with €65.2 billion in revenues in 2010. EDF operates a diverse portfolio of 120-plus gigawatts of generation capacity in Europe, South America, North America, Asia, the Middle East and Africa. In 2009, EDF was the world's largest producer of electricity. In 2011, it produced 22% of the European Union's electricity, primarily from nuclear power, 84.7%. Renewable energy, 8.3%, gas, 2.7%, charcoal, 2.7%, fuel, 1.2%, other, 0.4%. Its 58 active nuclear reactors are spread out over 20 sites. They comprise 34 reactors of 900 MWe, 20 reactors of 1300 MWe, and 4 reactors of 1450 MWe, all PWRs. The EDF Group activities. EDF specializes in electricity, from engineering to distribution. The company's operations include the following: electricity generation and distribution, power plant design, construction and dismantling, energy trading and transport. It is active in such power generation technologies as nuclear power, hydropower, marine energies, wind power, solar energy, biomass, geothermal energy and fossil-fired energy. Distribution network. The electricity network is composed of the following: a high and very high voltage distribution system. This part of the system is managed by RTE, who acts as an independent administrator of infrastructure, although it stays in the lap of EDF. A low and medium voltage distribution system, maintained by ERDF, formerly known as EDF Gaz de France Distribution. It was spun off from EDF Gaz de France Distribution in 2008 as part of the process of total separation of the activities of EDF and GDF Suez. Organization head office. The EDF head office is located along Avenue de Wagram in the 8th arrondissement of Paris. The EDF head office is shared between several EDF sites in Greater Paris. The Directorate Chairman and CEO, Jean-Bernard Lévy. Business statistics. Customers, 37 million worldwide in 2010. 2009 turnover, €63.34 billion, €41.82 billion in 2002. Profit, €3.96 billion in 2010, €3.96 billion in 2009. Net profit, €1 billion in 2010, €3.92 billion in 2009. Net debt, €34.4 billion in 2010, €42.5 billion in 2009. Revenue, €65.17 billion in 2010, €59.14 billion in 2009. The quantity of produced electrical power is about 630.4 terawatt-hours in 2010. Employees, 158,842 persons, among whom 110,000 are based in France. Main partners and affiliates in Europe, United Kingdom. 100% EDF Energy, acquired British Energy Group plc, which generates about 20% of British electricity, mainly from 8 nuclear plants. 100% EDF Trading, Austria, 100% Vero, 20% Group Estag, Belgique, 100% Semibis, France. 100% of EDF Energy is Nouvelles, which in turn owns EDF RE, formerly ENFCA in US. 74.86% Électricité de Strasbourg, 67% Dalkia Investments, 51% TIRU, 50 50% Sega, 50% Edenkia, 50% Dalkia International, 50% SIIF Energies, 34% Dalkia HDG, Germany, 100% EDF Ostalbkreis, 100% EDF Weinsberg, 50% RKI, Hungary, 95, 56% BZRT, 100% DE Acute MASZ, Italy Edison S.P.A. 100% EDF Energia Italia, which sells directly 2.2 terawatt-hours to Italy, 100% EDF Fennis, 40% Finite, 30% ICE the Netherlands, 100% Finelix, 50% Synergy Holding, Poland, 76.63% Rybnik, 66.08% EK, 49.19% ECW, 35.42% Cogeneration, 24.61% Zelona Gora, Slovakia, 49% SSE, Spain, 100% EDF Iberica, Sweden, 100% Scandrangkraft, 36.32% Group Graninger, Switzerland, 50% Chattelot, 50% Emossen, 14.25% Group ATEL, 26.26% Motor Columbus. In America, United States, 100% EDF Inc., which controls fully or partially Unistar Nuclear Energy, EDF-RE, formerly ENFCA, EDF Trading North America and Constellation Energy Nuclear Group, 50% through a joint venture with Exelon. Argentina, 25% Edenor, 45% Sodemsa, 22.95% Edemsa. Brazil, 100% Lidl, 10% Light Energy, 90% Norte Fluminense. In Asia, China, 85% Synergy, 60% Figlis, 35% Dating Sandmengxia Power Company, 19.6% Shandong Zhonghua Power Company, Vietnam, 56.25% Meco. In Africa, Côte d'Ivoire, 50% Azito and AMP-M, 32.85% Azito Energy. History. Status of EDF. EDF was founded on 8 April 1946, as a result of the nationalization of around 1,700 smaller energy producers, transporters and distributors by the Minister of Industrial Production Marcel Paul, a state-owned epoch. It became the main electricity generation and distribution company in France, enjoying a monopoly in electricity generation. Although some small local distributors were retained by the nationalization, this monopoly ended in 1999, when EDF was forced by a European directive to open up 20% of its business to competitors. Until the 19th of November 2004, EDF was a state-owned corporation, but it is now a limited liability corporation under private law, after its status was changed by statute. The French government partially floated shares of the company on the Paris Stock Exchange in November 2005, although it retained almost 85% ownership as of the end of 2008. Finances. Between 2001 and 2003, EDF was forced to reduce its equity capital by €6.4 billion total because of the performance of subsidiaries in South America and Europe. In 2001, it also acquired a number of British energy companies, becoming the UK's biggest electricity supplier. The company remains heavily in debt. Its profitability suffered during the recession which began in 2008. It made €3.9 billion in 2009, which fell to €1.02 billion in 2010, with provisions set aside amounting to €2.9 billion. In January 2013, EDF sold its 1.6% stake in U.S. utility Exelon for $470 million. In March 2016, EDF's chief financial officer, Thomas P. Kamal, who had argued that the final investment decision on building Hinkley Point C nuclear power station should be delayed for 3 years, resigned. With EDF's market value halved over the preceding year, the cost of the Hinkley Point C project now exceeded the entire market capitalization of EDF. Energy policy: France is the main country to use electricity of nuclear origin as the dominant method of production. In May 2004, the French Interior Minister Nicolas Sarkozy reasserted, in front of the French Parliament, the primacy of a nuclear power, much to the relief of labor unions of EDF. In this speech, the minister rephrased the famous slogan, "We do not have oil, but we have ideas," by declaring, "We do not have oil, we do not have gas, we do not have coal, but we had ideas." Depleted uranium from reprocessing the spent fuel of the 58 French nuclear power plants was exported from Le Havre to Russia in the last years and, stored in Sevres, it was enriched, and the new fuel was exported back to France. In 2013, EDF acknowledged the difficulties it was having building the new EPR nuclear reactor design, with its head of production and engineering, Hervé Maconeau, saying EDF had lost its dominant international position in design and construction of nuclear power stations. Maconeau indicated EDF was considering designing 2 new lower-powered reactors, one with output of 1,500 MWe and the other 1,000 MWe. EDF's buying conviction. In 2011, a French court fined EDF €1.5 million and jailed 2 senior employees for spying on Greenpeace, including hacking into Greenpeace's computer systems. Greenpeace was awarded €500,000 in damages. Although EDF claimed that a security firm had only been employed to monitor Greenpeace, the court disagreed, jailing the head and deputy head of EDF's nuclear security operation for 3 years each. 2 employees of the security firm, Cargis, run by a former member of France's secret services, received sentences of 3 and 2 years respectively. DDoS attack on EDF site. EDF's website was brought down by DDoS attacks 3 times in 2011, twice in April and once later in June. The attacks were claimed by the hacktivist group Anonymous. 3 men were later arrested and interviewed on charges of obstructing functionality of a data processing service, fraudulent access of a data processing service, and participation to an association formed with the aim of preparing such infractions. Motivations for the attack were thought to relate to the Fukushima nuclear accident in Japan. Unlike Switzerland and Germany, who plan to close down all nuclear reactors at the end of the lifespan, the government of France had no such plans to move away from nuclear power, and 3 months after the Fukushima meltdown, stated a budget increase for nuclear power. The downtime of the EDF website cost the company an estimated €162,000. Suing No for gas. In February 2013, EDF Energy sought an estimated £5 million in damages from environmental activists from the No for gas campaign that occupied the EDF-owned West Burton CCGT power station in October 2012. It is unusual in the UK for companies to seek damages from protesters. On 13 March 2013, EDF dropped the lawsuit against the protesters, after agreeing a permanent injunction against protesters entering EDF sites. Renewable energies. plug-in hybrids and V2G. EDF has developed free charging points for the Toyota plug-in HV in France. The French government has contributed $550 million to a partnership by Électricité de France with Renault Nissan and with PSA Peugeot Citroën. Carbon intensity competitors. Main competitors. Apart from the producers and foreign distributors, in France, there are some important companies, which, although the market share is weak with regard to that of EDF, are a significant competition. These are, Engie, a company formed after the merger of Gaz de France and Suez, clearly intends to produce its own electricity, has bought stake in the future EPR nuclear reactors and is poised to become the most credible competitor of EDF in the newly liberalized French electricity market. SNET. This company is the successor of depleting coal companies and primarily produced thermal electricity. Its capital belonged predominantly to collieries of France, and with EDF, a portion of the capital was sold to Endesa, the main Spanish electricity producer. Another portion of 35% was sold in 2004. As of 2008, Endesa holds 65% of the equity of the generating company SNET. CNR, the capital of which is predominantly public. The company exploits 19 hydroelectric plants installed on the banks of the Rhône. Its production of 19 terawatt-hours makes it the second largest French producer with 4% of the market. CNR signed a partnership agreement with Electrabel, Chem, a subsidiary of SNCF, of which it produces about one-third of the electricity used by SNCF. This company will probably be sold as part of a policy of refocusing of SNCF in due time. A partnership agreement was signed with Electrabel. Locally controlled between local councils. Among the other rivals of EDF, one can count a number of municipally governed companies, known under the generic term Entreprises Locales de Distribution, who are electricity producers exploiting EDF's network. The nationalization of electricity and gas on 8 April 1946, which profoundly changed the French electrical and gas organization, had however acknowledged the right of villages to keep the role in the public distribution of electricity and gas. In 1946, certain firms, villages or groups of villages, did not accept the proposal of nationalization and created autonomous state controls. To note, contrary to the initial idea, local controllers of electricity have had, since 1946, the choice to continue to produce electricity. In fact, the production was rather marginal, except in Rhône-Alpes, having often preferred buying the majority of the electrical power from EDF. With the recent opening of the electricity market, local controllers are considering developing, augmenting and diversifying their own production, and/or to diversify the sources of supply. To date, the number of local businesses of distribution is approximately 170 and holds 5% of the distribution of French electrical power in 2,500 villages. Created by local authorities, they serve about 3 million people and represent 7,000 jobs, around 30 of them 9 during creation in 1962 are federated in a national entity known as ANROC. Several departments are not therefore served entirely or partly by EDF, for instance, Chevres, supplied by SAIS, labor union between local councils of electricity of Chevres. Vienne, supplied by SIEDV, labor union between local councils of electricity in works of the Department of Vienne. Charente-Maritime, supplied by SDEER, labor union of electricity and rural works of the Department of Charente-Maritime. Gironde, supplied by Gironde Electricity. However, the company was sold to EDF at the beginning of 2000 because it could not financially maintain the damage of the severe weather of December 1999 on its network. Alsace, Rhône-Alpes.